All right. All right. All right. All right. Um, extending. Oh, it's good. There we go. All right, guys. So here we are. Mostly going to be on X today, so it doesn't really matter if I have this kind of shrunk down. I'm going to reshare this again. Share. There we go. I hope the audio is better. Someone says here, even surely Ananda will defend penal substitutionary atonement even more now. Audio is better. It must have been on Rumble Studios then. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. It's frustrating, so if anyone's upset that I was getting irritated, I don't know what to tell you. Ananda will become a Zoroastrian in a couple of years. Well, he goes from Buddhist to Muslim to Catholic to Orthodox back to Catholic. Why is anyone? And it's not just Catholic; it's Melkite Catholic. The Roman Catholic Church has officially said that non-Melkites should not be converting to the Melkite Church. The Roman Catholic Novus Ordo Church is the normative church that converts should be becoming. Melkites are specifically for the people that joined from the Melkite people that decided to join with Rome. It's not meant for people like him. Funny, isn't that? The problem with with Catholicism as the head of the church is also a politician, which means there is less focus on monasticism. There's some truth to that, but we're going to be talking about this here in a second. I love you all, my brothers and sisters. We're not your brothers and sisters anymore. You're an apostate. You're in serious spiritual. There's a serious spiritual disease you have right now. I'm sorry things have to end with my departure from you all and the unity we shared. What unity? You have been a subversive force since your baptism, which has not been that long. I think he's been baptized maybe a year and a half, 2 years, right? I am grieved and have been grieving the reality of this for a while. Forgive me, all of you. So he's been debating Orthodox on what Orthodox theology is, but for a while he has been grieving this reality that he's got to leave us essentially. Can we just call out and be honest about how rat-like this behavior is? Right? This is insane behavior, guys. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you. No one believes that he'll stay Melkite Catholic for more than a few years. No one believes that. He's got to deal with the reality of the current reality of the Pope now. He has to defend Pope Leo now. He's literally mentally ill, self-admittedly. Lord of mercy. Well, I don't know if that's true. I haven't listened to enough of his things, but this is absolutely insane behavior. Insane behavior. And then before he leaves, he does one last quote mine. Gosh, you just gotta love it, right? He couldn't help himself but do one last quote mine. I witness now before God and men that have torn away from these the body of Christ for the scriptures see, the see of Rome. That's not necessarily true what he means here, from the supreme see, in which Christ placed the keys of faith against the gates of hell. I mean, the mouths of the heretics have not prevailed and never will until the consummation, according to the promise of him who cannot lie. Him who cannot lie. Good Lord. So the Pope of Rome is incapable of lying. God Lord, he's adopted all of the usual Roman polemics. It's absolutely embarrassing. Let the most blessed and apostolic Pope Pascal rejoice, therefore, for he has fulfilled the work of Peter. This is just praise. This is just basic praise that we see all the time from these people. They give lofty praise to each other all the time. Go read what the saints had to say about the See of Constantinople. Go see what they had to say about Jerusalem. Go see what they had to say about Antioch. They all made these lofty claims about each other. All of them. Enjoy a clown mass, absolutely. As they say in Rome, Allahu Akbar. Yep. He should not be doing any apologetics against Muslims anymore, by the way. His pope said that Muslims have a legitimate faith. Um, the uh, hey guys, two inquirers at my church for 2 weeks. Do you guys have any advice on how to interact with them? Just talk about normal things and don't talk about theology until they're comfortable. It's that simple. Let them bring up the theology, and then maybe you can just respond, but let them guide the conversation. You shouldn't be the one guiding the conversation. If you fear you're being too overbearing, always allow the person who you fear you're being overbearing with. Just say, "Hey, what do you want to talk about? Blah blah blah. What's going on?" Are you going to stay on Athos? He said, no. So this is the guy, by the way. I want to remind everyone. Ananda was going around telling people, I have authority to be teaching about orthodoxy because I have a spiritual father on Mount Athos who I'm in regular communication with. So you're saying your spiritual father on Mount Athos is approving your move to go to Rome? What a joke. This guy's such a joke. He lied to everyone's face. He lied to everyone's face. Everybody's face he was just lying to. It seems like the temptation to apostatize is huge in a lot of recent converts. May the Lord humble us and guide us only into his true faith of the orthodoxy. Yeah. People are posting all kinds of reactions. Roman Catholics are cheering, dude, you don't want this problem child in your camp. You guys don't want him. He's a problem child. He's going to push non Roman Catholic theology on you guys, and he's going to be a subversive element. Nobody should take this person seriously. This should be obvious by now. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Enjoy your new apostate Vatican II is just the start. Papal quote mines are super idiotic way of choosing heresy and leaving orthodoxy. Yep, gay blessings. He's got to accept all of that. Welcome home, brother. We love you. No, you don't. You don't care about him. He's converting to Melkite Catholic, guys. He's not even becoming Norvis Ordo Roman Catholic. He doesn't even believe the own crap he's selling. He's saying, so he's going to go around and start selling. He's going to go around and start selling this idea of, oh, you need to come home to Rome. Your own church says not to convert us. So why are you even bothering converting when we have valid sacraments, when we have all of the things that the last two popes, or really the last 3 to 4 popes, have said we have? Can't believe there will homoerotic and homoerective in the papacy. Yeah, I know, it's funny. You guys are hilarious. He thinks Catholicism is still like what it was during the Francisco Franco. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Well, but even then, Francisco Franco, um, funny enough, the Pope and the papacy operated more like Orthodoxy in the early years when the Spanish Empire still existed. The Synod of Toledo had like veto power over the Pope. Like any papal decision that was made, the Synod of Toledo could like intercede and like change it and say no, right, basically. So he's totally out of his mind. I guarantee you he hasn't read any of the material from Craig Truglia. He hasn't read any of the material from Father Peter Hears or anything like that. It's just, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And no one's shocked by it. I mean, let's be real. No one's shocked by it. So anyways, that is the fruit of Latinizing. And if we look at the quotes, After a long period of discernment, I am never leaving Eastern Orthodoxy. This is one of the infamous Latinizers. He doesn't realize that his theology is what has led to this. I just said this is a sad state of affairs. Orthobros are coping in the replies and quote teams. So how are we coping? We all called this out. Coping would be like, oh, he's not converting for the wrong reason. No, we're like, yeah, this was like, we all called this out. We all knew that this was where his theology leads to. Like, we all knew it. Look at all these papists are like, to be deep in history, to cease to be orthobro. Dude, your own church believes that we have valid sacraments and that we are deep in history. We all called it out. And I don't know why all these guys, Elijah Yassey, Alan Rawl, Talon, Pappas Enjoyer, all these guys, why are they cheering? They don't believe his status has changed at all. He is in the same state of salvific, sanctifying grace as he was in the Orthodox Church. There's been no change in his status. He is still the same. He could always, as an Orthodox Christian, he could always go to a Roman Catholic parish and partake in the Eucharist. Always. There was never a moment where he couldn't have in the modern Roman Catholic Church. Xena, I mean, she's just like, this is where they are. First off, she's saying that this is Orthodox. Orthodox do not use this terminology. Notice how the Latinizers and their foids, the foids that are in that camp as well, great doctor of the church. We don't use that language in Eastern Orthodoxy. Notice how the Latinizers adopt all of the language of Rome and never any of the fruit. They'd never show any of the fruit. Now, I responded here.
Really sad video that I have to make because it's never fun to point out that this is the fruit. Somebody apostatizing.
Let's restart this.
Hey, folks, this is a really sad. Submission of will. I don't know how anybody.
No audio? Oh, here.
Hey, folks, this is a really sad video that I have to make because it's never fun to point out that this is the fruit. Somebody apostatizing. This is the fruit of Latinizing, guys. This is the fruit of continually refusing to submit yourself to the will, mind of the church. This is somebody who argued, I have a spiritual father on Mount Athos. I am smart enough to do this on my own. I don't need my spiritual father to approve of my online activities. What spiritual father is going to approve somebody to make videos and apologetic content when they are discerning Roman Catholicism and they nearly apostatized already once to true Orthodoxy? This is a very serious thing. Apostasy is a very serious thing. And what it shows is that there is no consistency with these people. They will continually read things themselves.
Do I make homemade kimchi? Everyone in Korea makes homemade kimchi, but I don't personally. It's my wife's family, and then we take some.
Until there's nothing left to read. It is constant self-affirmation and not a submission of will. I don't know how anybody, frankly, can look at the modern state of the Roman Catholic Church and go, oh, yeah, that's the church that has remained consistent with the teachings of the first millennium. Just can't. I mean, frankly, you look at Pope Leo today, you look at Pope Francis previously, you look at Vatican II, and there's just really no way. So really what this is that they couldn't reconcile. Let's be real about this. He couldn't reconcile his Latinized theology and his theology that he created in his head about orthodoxy with orthodoxy. And so he's going to the one place that will accept basically any theology. It will accept any theology. Roman Catholicism today doesn't really care what your theology is as long as you submit to the Pope. And that gives him free reign. Now, of course, we don't know what happened in his personal life, but the one thing we should be doing, pray sincerely for this man. Apostasy is dangerous.
There you have it, guys. That's my thoughts when I woke up and heard the news. Latinized diorite. I've talked to him before. I want to point out something. He's an Orthodox Inquirer who is saying he's a Latinized diorite. You shouldn't be a Latinized or diorite or any. You shouldn't be using any label. You're an Inquirer. You shouldn't be commenting on any of this stuff, and yet they do. He kind of leans more towards the Latinizers. This is the one time in which I think this Caden guy actually made a good point. He says this is what happens when you spend all day being chronically online reading 14th century documents instead of just going to church. There's a truth to that. There is some truth to that. This is going to happen to almost 100% of the people who are colloquially known as Latinizers. They will apostatize from the faith. This is not a good thing. This is an incredibly sad thing. But people like myself and those who have interacted with these people who are colloquially known as Latinizers have been saying this for a while. When you don't have the mind of Christ, when you can't be obedient to the teachings of the church, you're either bound to either leave or be spiritually tormented. None of these things are good. This is an incredibly sad thing to happen. We'll pray that he comes back to the church that Christ established. Yep, we've been saying this for a long time. We've been saying this for months and months and months, guys, ever since all of this stuff blew up when we started this channel. This has been a problem for months, guys. It's lucky that you get free delicious kimchi. Kimchi's everywhere here, guys. They like literally they could exchange it as like they could exchange their currency for kimchi, and that would probably work since like 90% of the Korean population eats and uses kimchi anyways, and kimchi lasts damn near forever. Like you can keep kimchi in a fridge, in a properly stored kimchi lasts an incredibly long period of time. They could just use it as currency. Serbs have been saying. Serbs have been saying that. Oh yeah, it's interesting. Would love to see you react to the convo between HHS and Z on Z today. Well, we can do that. We can do that. You guys got to give me the money though. I got to grift. I got to grift max. Actually, I haven't even been grift maxing properly. Look, I didn't even set up a goal. Let's set up a goal, guys. Grift maxing. Look at it. See, now we're grift maxing properly. Yes, I saw that. Cleve got baptized. 6:30 a.m. Yeah, it's evening here in Korea. I had some spare time. Normally I work in the evening, but today I had a lot of stuff that I got done. So, Anthony Swampman, how you doing? I will probably open a space later for you guys to call in. So if anyone wants to call in, just let me know in the chat and I'll open up a space and you guys can call in. But for some reason, Rumble Studio was acting really funky. So my audio was all choppy on Rumble. So we're only on YouTube today. So I can't adjust the size of my camera. I can't do any of that crap, which kind of unfortunate. I don't know why Rumble has better internal like has better studio features than the built-in YouTube studio features, but you know it is what it is. Okay. Pray especially that Orthodox are not scandalized by this, and that Neo-Pelagians, now notice he's calling me that, because he does respond to me later, don't use this as an advantage to dunk on people who simply believe in original sin and PSA as everyone should. Um, so then I responded, Neo-Pelagians, these people do not see the fruit of their own theology in real time. Insane. He says, proven my point award. Pointing out accurately what people who affirm this theology and the way of assessing the faith end up is proving the very point we have been making for years. Is I hope you end up in heaven to be able to ask Theophan Prokopovich whether it's led him to apostasy. Oh wait, I forgot. He died hating Catholicism and Protestantism. Okay, that's kind of irrelevant. Your framing is always disgusting. You use the saints as a shield, often twisting them into what you form your own will to try and attack opponents, rather than rationalize or debate your positions. Pathetic. And then he says, "Baha, twisting this guy, dude, you're actually are clueless." Okay, so that's still not an argument. Non-argument. I said the saints plural. I have no idea specifically what writings or quotes you have from him, but your response here tells me all I need to know. Prideful. I didn't even intend to make an argument because you guys have been spurging about our saints' teachings for months, dismissing everything you don't like as a contradiction to a consensus you've never been able to show. Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's see if he responds. Did this dude just make up what people say we must believe? That we should believe in PSA? I know. This is what they do all the time. John Marcos, who's one of the famous Latinizers, he's actually a moderator on SIG, Bryce J, and like all these guys' discords. He's a Latinizer as well. Some of the theology you hold can be found verbatim in Against Julian, which he's basically calling me a Pelagian, or is more extreme than Pelagius himself. Notice how he doesn't provide an example. I said, you bore me. My position is no different than the Orthodox clergy and hierarchs alive today. I've explained my position dozens of times. Someone even here says, as everyone should, bro is full of pride of his own intellect and the fact that there are people who side with them just so that they don't have to feel bad about being furries too. Lord have mercy. Yep. Please don't call it the specific thing that causes people to delve into prelest and consider apostasy, because everyone should believe this specific thing that causes prelest and apostasy. I thought the Latinizer was done after that scholar demolished SIG argument on Twitter a while back. Probably, I mean, they mostly are done. But this is just us reacting to the real life. Like, this is happening in real time. Middle of the road fence sitter right here. Latinizer became Latin. There's a lesson in that. I wonder what his next religion will be. Again, this is a guy that has changed religions. Like, people criticize Jay for over a 15-year period, going, well, probably even longer than that, 20-year period, going from Baptist to Catholic to, SSPX style Roman Catholic to Orthodox over a 15, 20-year period. Meanwhile, you have a guy like this who, in less than 2 years, he's been baptized less than 2 years. He goes from Buddhist to Muslim to, and this is a young guy, by the way. Ananda is a young guy. He is not an older guy. He's not like in his 30s. He's a younger guy that's in college. He's a college-age dude, young 20s. He's gone from Buddhist to Muslim to Catholic to Orthodox, now back to Melkite Catholic. These people are not serious. And why are we taking these people seriously? I just use OBS. Rumble Studio, the reason I support Rumble Studio, guys, is because Rumble is a free speech platform, and you can automatically post to all of your different streaming locations for free. You don't have to pay for a single dime for it. Plus, it has call-in features. It has all the features that you'd want. The only thing that it's not great with right now is mobile. They need to fix that. Pretty sure he's Norvus Ordo, from what I've heard. That's not what his bio says right here. It says Melkite Catholic. Saint Gregory the Great, pray for us. Saint Gregory the Great, pray for us. No one is shocked. And we look at the quote tweets, we'll see. I think Jay even responded. Like no one is surprised by any of this. Nobody. Did Jay respond? I know Jay did notice it, and he did respond. I don't know if it was this specific. I don't know if it was this specific one that he did, but he did respond. He was not a subdeacon. So some of these people are a little bit mistaken about the timeline, but that's... The papacy? Does he mean the Pope of Alexandria? Love that. That's hilarious. That is freaking hilarious. Anyways, guys. The reaction has been insane. Okay? Ananda was a reader. Well, it just goes to show you guys that you shouldn't be putting your faith in a reader. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay. That doesn't really do anything for us here. Silver lining is that there's one less voice inside of the church trying to get people to adopt PSA. It's a tragedy. We don't want to see somebody's soul endangered in this way, but yes, certainly. So Orthodox Ensign, the probably second most famous Latinizer, though we don't even know if he's actually Orthodox. No one actually knows who this guy is. Some people claim to know who he is because of Discord discussions, but that doesn't prove anything. You have to actually prove that you're Orthodox, spiritual father, etc., etc. Ensign is now unashamedly pushing for sola fide. So let's see what he says there. Even though modernist anti-Christians deceive many and will take many souls to hell with them forever, the cool thing is they can't take your belief in the gospel away. You can just keep believing it and go to heaven. They literally can't stop you. So sola fide. You don't need the church. You just need your belief in Christ. You just need to believe the gospel. You just need to believe. Just believe correctly. Notice how he doesn't even use Orthodox crosses in his bio. And he just has this leftover Orthodox cross in his title. Completely subversive. I love this. This is hilarious. If you had to guess, which branch of Christianity does this come from? Conservative evangelical fundamentalist Protestant Christianity. Most likely independent fundamentalist practice, Baptist free grace, or similar Bible-believing circles. It's freaking hilarious. You can just keep believing it and go to heaven. You don't have... It's just a simple belief, guys. This is the same guy. This is the same guy that was arguing that unbaptized infants go to damnation, that unbaptized infants go to hell. So right here, this is one of the other infamous Latinizers. This guy who verbally abuses people on Twitter believes he'll merit his own salvation via righteousness, righteous feats. Yeah, okay. I think I can merit my righteousness. That's new. Yep. Glad you brought some AI slop. The slop of your own mind was getting tiring. Ensign has been caught using AI. No one knows who this guy is. No one knows for sure who this guy is. He's been doing this for years now, for at least 3 years. He's been going on these tangents, and he's been getting more and more and more radical. I sometimes forget how easy Christ made it to enter paradise for us. The only one who makes salvation hard to attain is myself. What happened to having to join yourself to Christ, to obey Christ? It's what? It's just simply believing? It's just simply believing? When will the nerd streams be back? Tomorrow, I believe. I'm glad someone covered this. Thank you for doing the stream, bro. No problem. We're going to be opening up spaces soon, so if you want to jump in, just let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to jump in onto a space and discuss this more. Free grace scholasticism. Like look at the people that he keeps company with. How does anyone think this person is orthodox is beyond me. It's beautiful, isn't it? An orthodox man unabashedly pushing orthodox doctrines. Now, this is interesting. Decree 13 of the Pan-Orthodox Synod of Jerusalem says, "We believe a man not to be simply justified through faith, but through faith which worketh through love." That is to say, through faith and works. But the idea that faith can fulfill the function of a hand that lay holds onto righteousness which is in Christ and can apply it unto us for salvation, we know is far from all orthodoxy. For faith so understood would be possible in all, and so none could miss salvation. This is obviously false. But to the contrary, we rather believe that it is not the correlative of faith, but the faith which is in us, justifies through work with Christ. But we regard works not as a witness certifying our calling, but as being fruits in themselves, which through faith becomes efficacious, and as in themselves meriting through the divine promise that each of us faith may receive what is done through his own body, whether it be good or bad. I would say Latinizing is besides maybe ecumenism is probably, but honestly, almost one and the same. Almost one and the same. Sorry about that, guys. I'm hungry. And you got business. This guy is amazing. He constantly is really good at addressing these things. So you have here, Ensign is now unashamedly pushing for the gospel. Of course, he responds, "Tell me what the Council of Jerusalem responding against, if not Protestant sola fide." Ensign already addressed this faulty interpretation of Blessed Dositheus numerous times. Okay, so Ensign is a lying retard who confuses people. So no one should be listening to him. Is that what you're saying? Does this thing happen in Western Rite Orthodoxy? I mean, it seems like a lot of these guys try and find refuge there, but they don't find refuge for very long because the hierarchs have been cracking down on it. They've been cracking down on it. So Prime Minister in Greece is trying to handle clergy. Some people are worried he'll allow women in Mount Athos. That will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. There would be mass riots against it. So I'll ask again, did the Holy Spirit convene the church to condemn a view in Decree 13 which didn't need condemning because it was a mere mischaracterization of Protestantism, which is actually 100% fully Orthodox in the Confession of Sola Fide? Why didn't the church correctly understand Protestantism and therefore affirm Sola Fide? The Holy Spirit guided Decree 13 to condemn. Notice how they can't just say 13, they have to be pretentious. Like, no offense, guys, using Roman numerals, unless it's like very specific, like it's unless it's a name, is just pretentious. Just say Decree 13. Trying to remember Roman numerals is annoying because I always get them backwards. That's mostly the reason. I almost always get them backwards. Um, I would need to see where Blessed Docecy explicitly states that Lutheran Reformed position of faith alone, that's never alone, as an instrument, is anathema. So the false view of faith was limited to misreading of the confession attributed to Lacaris only and had nothing to do with Protestantism. I mean, geez, you'd think that defining the doctrine of Protestantism, sola fide, would be dealt with by the council by something other than saying, we do not believe in justification by faith alone. If the fact that the church actually believed that Protestant sola fide is 100% fully Orthodox. Notice how these guys will find massive, I said numerals, by the way. Notice how there is massive um hoops they're jumping through. These are massive hoops they're jumping through. It's insane. So anyways, guys, let's open up a space here. The fruits of Latinization. Apostasy. I always spell that wrong. Well, they can call in. You guys just got to share the link. Come join the space. Share the link. Tag the people down below. While I have to use the little boys room, so anyone who wants to join, please join the space. Share the space. Share the space on X, and we will get right on into it. I really appreciate it, guys. I gotta pee really badly though. We got the same guys always doing this, guys. It's insane. Why does this guy always do this? Yeah, we're not going to be doing. Again, Eureka. You got to stop, dude. Like, you come in every time and you're not telling me if you're actually here to discuss the topic at hand, and then you leave. And what the hell this guy does all the time. He like joins and then leaves right away. It's just insane. I wonder if Miko will follow Ananda to Rome. He's more attached to Sig than Miko. He's more attached to Sig than Miko. Rebaptism doesn't exist since baptism doesn't exist outside the church. Yeah, people keep on. People are, dude. Talk about people losing their minds. Talk about people losing their minds. Absolutely, people losing their minds over the fact that he was baptized. Gotta love that Jay is. Here we go. You were Muslim 3 years ago, then Orthodox, then TO a couple months ago. Get off the internet. 100%. 100%. Exactly as we warned. Yeah. We all warned you. We all warned him. This was not a secret. No one is surprised by Ananda's apostasy. No one. We knew that if he continued down this path, this is exactly where it would lead. Nobody is shocked. Nobody. If no one wants to join the space, the Z on Z and HHS discussion was very interesting. Do you have a title for it? Let me pull it up. Yeah, if no one wants to join the space, then we'll just join out. We'll just quit it out. It's not a big deal. I'll leave it open for a little while though. Let me share it. Post this. So there we go. We shared one more time. We'll see if anyone wants to join up. It's HHS Xeon Z. Are you talking about the 3 hour, the stream 6 hours ago? Weren't they just complaining about the canon thing again? They probably were. They're really, really stupid, frankly. HHS is not a smart person. Like, I typically I'm very charitable. Typically, I'm actually very charitable with these people, but I'm just not charitable with H on H. He is HHS. He is not. First off, he's not humble, and second, he's immensely stupid. He's not a smart person. AP was an atheist for a few years, though. Does anyone have time to be jumping 5 religions in 3 years? Yeah, exactly. He's always screaming about the canons. Well, he's screaming about it because it's the only perceived win he has. It's the only position that HHS thinks is a winning position for him. He's always screaming about canons. Yep. Jay will definitely be going on Joe Rogan Experience Bros. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do think so. I think Jay will probably end up going on it. at some point. Um, I think Joe is one of those guys that can only take so much religious talk in a single moment, right? He's a guy that likes to chill, have fun, that kind of stuff. Just seeing what's on the timeline, guys, while we kind of wait around and see if anyone wants to join. Again, I'll share the link one more time for everyone in the chat. That's the X space link that you can use to join the chat. I'll pin it real quick just so you guys have it. Why isn't anyone shocked that an Indian was doing that? So I love the Chinese grift. It's one of the funniest things ever. Now, don't get me wrong. I follow these people because, why not? Because it's always good to know what they hear. But it's hilarious that they just pretend like cheap Chinese shit doesn't exist. Like, oh, actually, it's actually you just guys can't afford it. Well, it's just a bunch of nonsense. Arrow, welcome, brother. Welcome, brother. Long time no speak, man.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. What's up, brother?
Hey, I just had one quick question and then I'm gonna bounce off. I had a discussion about Ananda in a Discord, and I was saying thank God that he left because he was a subverter. And I was getting some pushback from somebody about basically like we should be praying for them instead of being happy that the subverter left or whatever. And I brought up Arius and Nestorius as two subverters who hated the church, right? So like I said, I could be wrong. I'm not omniscient. I don't know everything. So I wanted to ask your opinion on
Generally
people
speak,
who go
uh,
ahead.
yeah, generally speaking, my the thing that I always advocate for people is that yes, you should pray for them, but you also shouldn't be like, oh, it's so sad that he left. It's like no, it's just the inevitable conclusion of what they
Yeah,
were doing. It's like why is anyone shocked by this? Like why like I'm not gonna because their
yeah,
soul is endangered, right? Obviously,
yeah,
like apostasy is of all of the sins that one can commit in their life. Apostasy is one of the most grievous sins that has the most consequence on your eternal soul. Okay.
right.
And so in that case, yes, we should be grieving and we should pray for him. But in the other case, we should absolutely not be saddened that a subversive force is out of the church now. It's a double-headed sword. So how you feel in the moment shouldn't change what your action ends up being. The action is, regardless of whether or not you're praying for the soul of the individual, but you should also be praising that God has removed a cancerous influence in the church. And
From
hopefully,
the church,
by
yeah.
being removed from the church, it causes repentance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So of course for me I wasn't like, oh, don't pray for him, right? of, of
Yeah.
of course not, that's wicked. But my and to the guy I was talking to's credit, at least he said, I do understand what you're saying because there's people like David Bentley Hart in the church that we don't want
Well,
in the
he's not in
church.
the
So
church anymore. He doesn't even claim to be Orthodox anymore.
oh really?
No.
I didn't know
No,
that.
he's such a rabid ecumenist that he doesn't even recognize being Orthodox anymore.
Wow, I had no clue about that. But I guess you get the point of like there's subversives that he understood. So I guess it's just the point of like people like Ananda eventually were going to be led to this conclusion, and that's why he was flirting with To. So I just think like, of course you should pray for these guys, but you should also be like, whew, like thank God, like Good. Get
Well,
out of here.
hopefully it's a sign. Hopefully, what it should be. Amanda has a 347K9. Again, you're welcome to join the space if you want as well. Ananda has officially left the church. He is now going to Rome. He's a Melkite Catholic now. Actually, let me pull it up. Let's see if we have it here.
And last I saw, he actually posted an argument for the papacy, so he believes in the papacy now.
Of course he does. He's believed in, like, listen, it's been obvious based on his speaker corner. If anyone goes, I don't know his name.
I can get you his name on Twitter.
No, I know it. I don't follow him, so there it is. So if you look at his thing, it says Melkite Catholic. He has left after a long period of discernment. I'm leaving the Eastern Orthodox Church for Rome. He has left the church.
I mean, it's kind of funny because his butt buddy is gay. So I mean, maybe his butt buddy is going with him too.
So they claim that he was steel manning, and it's like, fine. Like, even if we are gracious and we grant them the whole thing, we grant them that argument. He's still sounded retarded. His steel man was terrible. Well, I'm serious. His steel man was terrible. A steel man requires you to actually debunk the steel man. Like, if I'm steel manning an argument, let's give me a steel man is, let me give their strongest argument, and then I debunk it. That's not what he did. He made the strongest argument, quote unquote, and then proceeded not to do any of that. So either he was
defending it,
either he was defending it, or he's retarded and shouldn't be doing apologetics. Which one is it? That's my answer to all those goobers that are like, oh, like Sig was just on a 30 verse 1 YouTube channel. 1 verse 30. It was like 1 Muslim versus 30, 1 Muslim versus 20 Christians or 10 Christians. 1 Muslim versus 10 Christians. I don't know if that was it 5 days ago? Yeah, so that was him. So he was in this. Actually, we might review that. I don't think Sig's arguments are particularly good. Again, guys, I want to emphasize, anybody will look smart debating a Muslim. Muslims are retarded, guys.
Yes.
They're not smart people. Their theology is ass backwards stupid. Okay? Anybody can make them look like, anyone can embarrass them. 90% of them are too stupid to even understand the basic philosophies that, like, the only person that is decent enough at philosophy and understanding the philosophical presuppositions undergirding it is Jake the Metaphysician. And I think he's at this point just grifting. I don't think he actually.
Everybody knows he's grifting, so you're not the only. Everybody knows he's grifting.
In what universe? And also, it's kind of sunk cost fallacy, but even worse than a sunk cost fallacy, because sunk cost is like personal cost, blah, 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 and so you just don't want to because of that. I think he also, like, he's got too much clout in the Muslim sphere. His life is in mortal danger if he were to, like, finally
leave. If he leaves, they would try to kill him.
They would absolutely. They would dox him and try and kill him. And, like, the UK, it has more radicals per the population of Muslims than freaking Afghanistan nowadays. Like, no joke. Yeah. So, because all of the Arab countries exported all of their radicals to Europe. So, and America, by the way. It's just less noticeable in America because we're such a big country.
Yeah. No, but 100%. I agree, and I think for Sig's case, I think personally, I think it was blasphemy because you compared homosexual relationships to Mary's relationship with Joseph.
Well, they're arguing that he was steel manning what the other position says, but he used key language in there that just made me feel like he wasn't actually making that argument, because one of the key things he kept on saying was, we Orthodox must. It's like, no, he didn't say these people believe XYZ, right? So
Mhm.
he wasn't like talking as if it was a third party. He was talking as if it was like a real thing.
A real thing. And
Bessarion, you've been approved. Just comment. I can't see if you're a speaker, so you just have to let me know. Oh, I can see it now. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Indeed.
What's up?
Nah, I just wanted to know how you feel after you lost your main apologist, you know?
he's a troll. I'm looking at his page. He's a capitalist.
Main apologist, dude. We've all been predicting that Ananda's going to leave the faith for a long time because of his retardation. So I mean, no one was surprised by this. No one is upset by this besides the Latinizers, who are an infinitesimally small subset of Orthodox online.
I mean, he converted to the truth. I mean, I don't see any arguments towards the papacy. You know?
Your papacy says that we have valid sacraments, that Orthodox can go and commune at Orthodox churches, that our baptisms are valid, that our Eucharist is valid. So all he's
Well, we're
done
not going
is
to say it's invalid, though. We're not going to say it's invalid. We're not Donatists. We're not.
that's
No,
not
but
what
you think it's
Donatism is. Hold on.
efficacious.
That's not what Donatism is. What do you think Donatism
Also,
is?
your council says that
What do you
Latin
think?
baptisms are valid.
What do you think Donatism is?
Yes, that the behavior of the orthodoxy of the said individual priest affects the validity of the sacrament.
Yes.
So if you're an apostate, then your sacrament is no longer valid.
No, that's not what that is.
That's literally what Donatism is.
No.
Would you say apostasy is a sin?
Do you believe that once the council declared Arius a heretic, that Arius would continue on to have valid sacraments even if he was out, even though he was formally excommunicated from the church?
Yes.
Are you retarded? That's the opposite of what they say in the council.
Augustine literally
No,
said
that's not
that
what
the
Augustine said.
Augustine literally said the Donatist has valid sacraments. Like, what are we doing?
No.
And by the way, your council.
That's because they were still in communion, you retard. Dude, when Augustine was debating the Donatists, were they still in communion with the church? Yes or no?
No.
Yes, they were. They weren't condemned.
No, they weren't, you retard. They were excommunicated like 200 years prior. What are you talking about, you dickhead?
No, the Donatists continued to persist on. Who was he debating? Phantom?
They weren't in communion. What are you talking about? The Donatists were.
Right.
You're removed. You're a fucking retard, dude. Was he shadowboxing phantoms? He was writing about something that was already condemned. Dude, different moments in history, the Donatists existed. Gosh, you're such a retard. And also, if you could just hold your tongue and make actual arguments and, have a back and forth, I wouldn't have kicked you. But you screaming, no! Yeah. Are you stupid? Are you 13? Are you 13 years old? You freaking retard. No wonder the papacy is losing. No wonder you guys accept Muslim sacraments as valid. No wonder your last pope went and told Buddhists and Hindus that they worship the same God. You fucking retard. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, all he did was scream. He had no arguments. All he did was just scream really loud in the mic and then say you're retarded.
And by the way, when did Augustine exist? When did he live? Like what, the 340s, something like that?
Yeah.
So 200 years prior, you're saying Donatists were around? Where were the writings against the Donatists? 140. 40 years after the death of St. John the Apostle. Where is there a single Donatist going around? Where are the condemnations of the Donatists? Where's the Ecumenical Council condemning them? Give me a break. These people are so freaking stupid. They're literally trying to. You're a top apologist. I knew he was a troll the moment he said that. Top apologist.
Yeah.
Dude, Ananda is not a smart apologist. Dude, he went out and denied basic Trinitarian doctrine from the Orthodox perspective while claiming to be Orthodox.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right.
That was against Sneeko, wasn't it?
Mm-mm. That was more recent. That was years ago. That's when he first got popular. When he first started converting to Orthodoxy. Recently, he said
he just did that.
Trinitarian. Yeah, they're like less than 2 months ago. Ananda's mentally challenged. Yeah, I don't think he's a smart guy at all. He's called into my stream before and he tried to play like these stupid games. So again, I just want to emphasize, St. Augustine was not shadowboxing random nobodies. There were Donatism, every single heresy has times and periods in time in which different versions of the heresy will crop up. Why were the Donatists condemned at that council, not earlier? Because it was an issue that was growing in the church during St. Augustine's time. That's simple.
Yep. Exactly. And they had to purge it because it kept growing. I mean, that's just like a lot of heresies in the church. Do you think that they dealt with it spot on and instantly eradicated it? If that's the case, the church wouldn't even be split now. Like,
recently, someone said Adrian Watt. Who is Adrian? Adrian Watt. He's in the space. Says recently I joined a couple of spaces via StreamYard. Folks from World Orthodox Church of the Church of the Eternal Logos. I don't. You mean David Patrick Harry? True Orthodox NF are interesting to talk to. I don't find guys, I talked to NFTU when he was still roaming around pretending to be a canonical priest on Gab. You guys, believe it or not, on Gab he used to pretend and LARP as if he was a canonical priest and trick people. He was a liar.
what?
If you have to lie about being true Orthodox in order to trick people into becoming canonical Orthodox, true Orthodox, or whatever they argue, if like he's retarded, like, and he's a dishonest rat.
Oh.
I had no, and at the time he was still a deacon, by the way. He's father deacon. That's how long I've known about NFTU. Furthermore, Cleve just completely, with his recent guest, that was a former true Orthodox, they just recently absolutely crushed the TOs. The TOs are just as ecumenist. The TOs are just as ecumenist. Dude, you have one of the major TO publishing houses ran by one of their bishops going around and publishing books by rabbis.
Did you see the post of them posting?
Hold on. We're gonna give Bessarion one more chance here. Bessarion, are you gonna handle yourself like like an adult or like a child?
Hello?
Yeah. Are you gonna handle yourself like an adult or a child?
Yeah, are you gonna correct your blunder about the Donatists being in communion with the church?
Yeah, I'm saying, oh, holy shit! Not all Donatists would have
You're
been.
obviously not ready yet. So
what do you think?
What I do know.
What, Bessarion? What do you think the church was condemning? What do ecumenical councils condemn? Do they condemn external issues outside of the church, or do they condemn issues that are happening in the church, ideologies that are spreading within the church? Which one is it?
Well, they can do both, just like St. John Damascene was doing. Because
what do you mean?
St. John Damascene was also refuting the non-ostracites, and they were outside the church. So it doesn't.
He used them as an example. He used them as an example to refute the ideas that were creeping in the church.
That's not true. He was refuting the Oriental Orthodox apologists at the time.
You're just a liar. Get out of here.
I don't even know why.
That's because it was a reoccurring issue that was spreading in the church. You address things that are happening internally within the church. If an ideology is spreading, that's what you do. Adrian, what's up? Just like they're so stupid. Like Donatism was a condemned heresy. And also, again, even if he's correct, let's grant him that he's correct. What the fuck does that have to do with whether I'm right in saying that modern day Donatism does not exist in the Orthodox Church? It doesn't. Like, what do you want us to say? It's Donatist to deny that people who cut themselves off from the church and have been heretics for thousands of years no longer have valid sacraments? Are you retarded? That would be like saying the Roman Catholics saying that Lutherans still have valid sacraments. That would be like saying the schismatics of Lutherans who deny the efficaciousness of the Eucharist still could confer valid sacraments if they just changed their mind tomorrow. It's the most retarded argument I've ever heard in my life. It's just it's literally low IQ slop. This is why you have the accent that you do, because you come from low IQ background in England. You're the type of people that farmed potatoes in Ireland and were abused, you know. and then you were shipped over to England because some freaking farmer in England couldn't find a wife, and so he's like, let me just bring this Irish broad over. You know, like, gosh, you guys are stupid. This is why they have like classism in England to this day, where like people with certain types of accents are like known to be upper class, and people like you are lower class because you're stupid. Anyways,
'Cause you're
Adrian, go ahead.
Because you're literally
Yeah,
retarded.
yeah. Let me see. Where are we? Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've on these two channels, we've had you know, a friendly conversation, basically about looking at trying to resolve this 110-year-old schism, taking the first steps. Now, obviously, ultimately, you have to go to bishops and things like that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's time to talk. That's our view. If
Well,
you're ready to talk
I would not.
with us, that's
By the
fine.
way,
If you're not ready, then
no,
okay.
I would
See you later.
not disagree that talking with TOs is more fruitful than talking with other people. I actually see almost zero reason to talk to Roman Catholics because, frankly, if they're not even willing to address the modern state of the Roman Catholic Church, the state post Vatican II, then why are we even wasting our time? Like, I think Patriarch Bartholomew's like outreach to them, though he hasn't really granted them anything, his continued like outreach to them is just pointless. It doesn't nothing is going to happen to it. Like nothing of substance will result from it. And if anything, it just makes us
the only
look
thing
stupid.
there is a prophecy, a very important one, the anonymous prophecy of Mount Athos of 1053, 24 parts of it, and the final part is with the Latins returning to the mother church amidst rejoicing. So I'm not entirely against them talking, but you know, it's the co-worshipping that is the problem, because you're like in effect saying, well, your sacraments are okay and all the rest of it. Especially when you allow
I think
them
there is a problem with that. I think that's not always the intention, and intention does matter, even if it's a misstep and a mistake. Now with the TOs, I have several problems with the TOs. One, which group of TOs? Because there's many different groups of TOs around, right? Like not all of them in communion. Some of them are, some of them are not, and so it's very difficult to that. The second thing is
it's the same problem with world orthodoxy now as well.
Which one?
You know, it's starting a talk. It's saying, okay, well, what does you know, what would an agreed confession kind of look like? I think
we don't need to have an agreed confession. There is the Orthodox Confession of Faith that exists today. None of the quote unquote, again, I'm just going to use your language, your world Orthodox churches formally have adopted any sort of heresies. No one's ever been able to show me any of the formal heresies that they've adopted. And
what about ecumenism and this?
Well, but ecumenism is a very specific thing, right? So again, true Orthodox are guilty of just as much ecumenism. We saw this in Cleve's recent stream. They're just as guilty with that. And it was a true Orthodox person who did a lot of. Some are, but then okay, who's the true Orthodox church then?
Well, I mean that's part of the thing that needs to be.
Well, that wasn't. But what were the reasons?
And there
go ahead.
There are splits within it, but the point is to try and establish, you know, correct confession, and it goes from there.
Well, but the problem is you don't do that from outside the church. You do that from within the church.
No. We've always been within the church. We have a direct route through to ROCOR.
Yeah, ROCOR doesn't recognize you guys anymore, so who cares?
No.
Really? ROCOR who's in communion?
There was a coup against Vitali. Okay, so there was actually.
So we're going to go into revisionist. We're going to go into revisionist history. So which ROCOR is the true ROCOR?
And they then went off and apostatized the
which ROCOR?
The majority of them, not all of them, right? Okay, and you've often had that kind of thing, you know, where the true church has been carried on by a minority. Look at St. Maximus the
That's not Confessor. Maximus the Confessor appealed to other bishops that were still in communion with the rest of the Orthodox churches. They did not formally separate. Name me a time in which the
ROCOR remained in communion until 1983, It was a
With
bridge between with what was world orthodoxy and also
they've been
the
in
true
communion
orthodoxy.
with
It
the,
acted as a bridge, and then
but they no
you had a
longer are.
situation in which they were
Even if we
Bishop
grant you the
Gabriel
argument,
Cyclades was not allowed to even speak at the World Council of Churches.
even if we were to grant you
And
that,
that's when they broke.
let me grant, I'm going to grant you your entire narrative, though, again, people have disputed that narrative. Even if I were to grant you that entire narrative,
and furthermore, to the bishops
Rollcore
on that
as it
have,
exists today,
incorrupt relics. That's the proof.
even if, well, okay, great claims. You
That
guys
we were
denied,
right.
the true Orthodox denied
That
the
we were
saints.
right.
Okay,
And you
Saint
were wrong.
Paisios has incorrupt
Saint
relics.
Paisios is not a saint. He's a pseudo saint.
Got it. You're kicked.
Orthodox.
You don't slander the saints in my
blasphemer.
space.
Yeah, he's
Blasphemy.
a blasphemer.
Saint Paisios, Saint Porphyrios, Saint Luke the Surgeon, all incorruptible relics. Is that this? If that's the metric in which we determine those things, get the fuck out of here. You don't insult the saints in front of me, you bastard, you bitch. In fact, I'm gonna block you. What the fuck are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here. And
Yeah,
yes, I will
he's a
cuss all day
blasphemer.
long. Get out of here.
Also, I wanted to address too. There was a recent post, like in the last 2 weeks.
Denied.
That
You're not coming back in this space. Get the fuck out of here. Pseudo saint my ass. Get the fuck out of here. I'm never talking. This is why I don't talk to the TOs.
Yeah, they're
Disgusting.
disgusting people. They're disgusting people.
Actually,
2 weeks ago,
let me fake spit. I can't spit on the ground because it's my house, but I'm gonna spit on you. Spit in a cup. Imagine that your
Yeah.
face. Get the fuck out of here. If I saw you in person, I'd spit on your face. Disgusting bastard.
Yeah, like two weeks ago, TOs were posting Hitler as their new saint. Like they were literally making icons of Hitler. Like they're literally disgusting people. They're trash
which
people.
TOs? That goes back to the case. Which TOs? He says, "Oh, Rollcore was the bridge," and then I'm like, "Okay, Rollcore's back in communion with Moscow Patriarchate." And he's like, "Oh, but those were apostates of Rollcore." Okay, so how small is the true Orthodox faith?
1.0000001%. Like
fuck
what?
off.
Like
no, dude, you're denied. You're denied. You insult the saints in my space, you're gone. Insulting Saint Paisios, who is recognized not just by Orthodox, but many people as being a saintly man. Get out of here, you clown cult. You don't insult. No, you're denied. Keeps on requesting. No, get out of here. You broke your dude. You don't get to come in here and insult our saints from like the host saints, right? Saint Paisios, Saint Porphyrios, Saint Luke the Surgeon. I can name you a dozen others.
Dude, you couldn't even kiss his feet. You wouldn't even be allowed to. You
Get
kiss
outta
his
here.
feet, your mouth catch on fire, dude. Like
If
you're
the
literally
standard is incorruptible relics, why the hell does Saint Paisios have incorruptible relics? Why the hell does Saint Porphyrios do? If that's the rule. If the rule is incorruptible relics, Rome has had people that have had alleged incorruptible relics. We don't know for sure. A lot of that stuff can be faked. Okay? Saint Olga of Alaska, recent saint under the OCA. You guys don't recognize the OCA as a legitimate church. You think they're heretics. She had incorruptible relics. Is she not a saint? Oh, I guess not, because she held to heresy, right? Get the fuck out of here. This is exactly the argument. Like, this is exactly what I've said all the time, guys. These people are jokes. Absolute disgusting jokes. Like, you want to have ecumenical dialogue? Oh, we need to start having talks with the World Council of Churches. But let's go and insult your recent saints. How about Saint Dimitris the Nicholai? What about him? What about Father Seraphim Rose, who's soon to be considered Saint Seraphim Rose within Rollcore? Get out of here.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
That's TO are probably the big, and I see why Jay doesn't like debate any of these idiots, because it's a waste of time. Like all they do is just blaspheme. So it's like I might as well talk to a Muslim. If I'm just listening to somebody blaspheme in an argument, I might as well just talk to a Muslim. Like at that point. Like,
hold on, my daughter. Guys, hold on 1 second. My daughter is she's messaging me.
Somebody said in the chat they scream ecumenist while being ecumenist. Literally, all while being ecumenist. It's hilarious.
I'm sorry, guys. My daughter just handed me her food that my wife made her, and she said it's delicious. Eat it. Basically, she wants me to eat her food for her so that she doesn't get yelled at by her mom. So I'm gonna do it for her. Of course, she gives me cold food though. She's trying to hide it from her mom, but I'm nice like that. Because my wife will make her eat cold food. She's like, no, you're eating it. Sounds like you're not yet ready for the TOWO conversation to help resolve it. How? Paisios
Just ban
attacked
them.
true orthodoxy, viciously attacked, not the way Christ behaved. Oh, give me. See, now you're piety signaling. Now you're hidden from my channel. Get the fuck out of here.
Just block him. He's a demon. I could tell he was like a demon when
Oh,
he wouldn't
you
even
mean
let you talk.
Saint Paisios condemns the people that separated themselves from the church rather than fighting within the church, which is what Saint Maximus the Confessor did? You know, none of the bishops during Saint Maximus the Confessor's time, even the one he debated against, were excommunicated from the church, and Saint Maximus didn't go and start his own synod and communion. He wasn't even a bishop, so he couldn't. He appealed to other bishops that were still canonically Orthodox and fought within the church.
Yeah,
So,
guys, joke and a half. I don't know how you do it. Really, when you debate some of the worst people on the internet, I don't know how you do
I have
it.
low. A citizen says incorruptible relic miracles don't necessarily confirm doctrinal truth. Yeah, there's truth to that too. We know that God can operate outside of the church. There are Buddhist monks that have passed away. That's their bodies basically have not rotted away. Now, does that mean they're holy because of their faith? No, it means that to some degree they operated with some level of holiness from the Holy Spirit. Does that mean that they were holy? No. It just means that there are means in which they can prevent these kinds of things, right? Makes sense why no one really tolerates their stupidity. Yeah, I mean, this you come into our space and so you want to have a discussion, and then you insult one of our most beloved modern saints. That's not how you open up with a conversation.
Imagine they had like a dialogue between these two and like IRL, and then they just started blaspheming and insulting our saints. Like, do you really think that conversation would last long? Like, you people are mentally ill schizo loons. That's why nobody wants anything to do with you guys.
That's why this is why, by the way, we're having a flood of two TOs coming back into the church. This is why we have a flood of genuine Orthodox and old believers, and all the different groups that have schismed from the church over the years are all coming back in. We had 2 parishes in Washington that were true old believers, who are like some of the earliest like TO equivalents that you can find in the Russian church. They recently came back into communion. Why? Because it's not sustainable to be outside of the church. And if ecumenism was really, again, I want to emphasize this. If ecumenism was the reason the TOs had their own church, if ecumenism was the reason, then you would expect them to be consistent internally, but they're not. Their own printing houses are printing works and writings from rabbinic Jews.
Oof.
That was proven. That was proven definitively on Cleave to Antiquities channel. So you can go. You guys can go debate Cleave. How about that? I'll let Cleave take care of that.
Oh, he's baptized now, so
Yeah.
he probably can debate now. So
With
hey,
guidance of his spiritual father, yeah, go have fun with him.
Have fun. Good luck.
But other Paul really wants to debate Cleave.
Other Paul wants to just get back from his embarrassing loss from Alex Soren. That's all.
That was embarrassing. And he still copes. He still copes to this day. To this day, he still copes and says, I won that. How? Dude, you literally said the honor can pass to the prototype when it comes to demons, but it can't pass from icons.
To
Why?
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Does
retarded.
Ben want to debate theology? I think he would be open to it. I think he'd be open to it if it was the right topic and the right type of people and stuff like that. He was a very good debater as a Protestant, though I think he'll be an even more effective debater as an Orthodox Christian. But we'll see. We'll see. The fruits of the
He
Latinizers. Let's see.
he's really good at research, so I think that put him in a good position. I
I
think
do want to emphasize, guys, this is open. I'm working on bringing back old believer Russian prayer ropes called a Lestovolka. Look them up. Starting to making and maybe selling them pretty soon. Go do it, man. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me pull it up. Lestigova prayer rope. Yes, I am aware of these. Yes. Yep. Those are pretty cool, actually. I've seen those before. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah. So, any of the Latinizers want to call in and defend their boy who converted?
wasn't he supposed to be like the leader?
He was one of the main guys. He called a lot of them his children.
Yeah, yeah. They were his spiritual sons.
My spiritual sons.
Funny.
My spiritual sons will carry on my legacy. What are you talking about, dude? You've been in the church less than 2 years.
Yeah, and he has spiritual sons. Yep.
Yeah, what a freaking psychopath.
What's your opinion on that? What's your opinion on him leaving? Is it kind of like a
It's not
wipe the
shocking.
forehead? I would say that, but how do you look at it? Like, do you look at it like because I remember Jay Dyer was like he's glad that what's the heretic, the anti-Trinitarian that he debated, that guy, I forgot his name.
I don't remember.
The black dude,
Metaphysician? No, I know who you're talking about, the black guy.
you know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
Unitarian. He's an idiot, right? But I remember Jay was like, no, not Captain Crack Rock, the other guy before Captain Crack Rock. Damn, I don't remember his name.
So you guys see this here? I'm going to share it in the space. Share to space. David Wood says, notice the Christian apologists can't even expose Islam without the Orthodox rushing in to Muhammad's rescue. How are we rescuing Muhammad by calling out Zionism? That's calling out two different heresies. We can call out both heresies. It's not an either or. Dude, if you support God Logic's church, his dad's Deliverance Church, you're out of your freaking mind. The fact that he's sending people to a rabbinic Jew, Messianic Jew, a rabbinic Messianic Jew, you're out of your mind.
Not only that, but what's the first heresy in the church?
Judaism.
So you're sending a guy to a church to get his peen snipped, and he's literally.
Dude, Yun Dong had his wee wee snipped. He got circumcised and he left the church permanently. Like, he's probably not coming back to the church. Young Don.
Yeah,
that's the fruit of these
forever.
people.
Yeah, he's probably an atheist forever. And so the only argument they have is, well, I'm going at Islam, you come at me, that means you love Islam. But you literally send people to a Jewish synagogue and you don't think there's anything wrong with that, as if Paul wouldn't condemn you if he was alive right now. Like, these people are insane. Oh, and Bryson Gray is the one I was talking about. And Jay
Bryson Gray. Yeah, Bryson Gray,
yeah.
Dude, he's a joke. No one takes him seriously.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, Jay said about Bryson Gray that he's happy he's not in the church because he's hard-headed and he doesn't care for the truth. So really, he would try to correct the theology instead of submit to the theology. And that's what I was going to ask you about, Ananda. Like, how do you feel about
this? Dude, I can't take these third world countries sometimes, man. I just see this on the timeline. I'm gonna go. They post this as if this is like, why are you posting this, guys? It's embarrassing for your country. You know, can't do it. All right. So, and Ruslan was laughing at young Don apostatizing. Yeah. Someone in the chat says Jay's recent debate was really good. He was pretty gentle with the Protestant at the debate. Dude, that was next level insane that Corey Mahler tried to crash the debate. And the awkward the 40-second awkward silence where the guy just sat there and just like stared upwards, and he was just like thinking, and he was like he took a swig of his cigarette.
Yeah, he was lost. It was
totally, dude. And again, all these Latinizers would fall into that same. Dude, they would agree with the Lutheran that Christ was forsaken on the cross. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
They would. All the Latinizers would agree that Christ was damned in some sense on the cross. They would all agree.
Wow.
By the way, anyone who wants to request can. I see we got 2 other people and a couple listeners in, so you guys are welcome to. You're welcome to come in and ask questions or anything like that. David Wood, AP, Ruslan have this unhealthy obsession with Israel. It's called Zionism.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, part of it is not even like that they think Jews are special or anything. A lot of it is because they just have this irrational hatred for Muslims. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of Muslims either. I think they're freaking vile. But like, doesn't mean I'm gonna go and support Israel as a result. It's like, no, I'm gonna support Christians. Like, listen, if I could snap my fingers and remove every single Jew from Israel and just scatter them throughout the whole entire world, right? And I could snap my fingers and make the Holy Land cleansed of all Muslims, and the only people left are Christians, I'd do that in 0.5 seconds. It wouldn't even be, I wouldn't even think about it. It'd be like, oh, that's it, done. I care about the Christians. I don't care about these random Muslims who hate Christians just as much as the Jewish people. They just are willing to side with the. Again, I'm not accepting you, dude. You like, Adrian, you're done. You insulted the saints. You're done. No, he's still in the chat. Keeps on requesting. You're done. You insulted Saint Paisios. You're done. It's that simple. Oh, but he insulted TOs. Okay, I don't care. If you host a space and I insult one of your alleged saints, right? And I say they're a pseudo saint or something like that, or I say like whatever else, then you have every right to not interact with me. But I ain't interacting with you when you insult our saints. One of my favorite saints in all of Orthodoxy is Saint Luke the Surgeon. You guys blaspheme him. You guys insult Saint Paisios, Saint Porphyrios. You guys don't like any of them, so get out of here. Already made
I don't know why you're
made
still
it clear.
here.
Like, why are you still here? I've made that clear multiple times. You're not allowed back up in the space. You've irritated me.
Leave,
at the very minimum, like maybe another time. Like, if you want to come back and like say I apologize for insulting your saint, and that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth, maybe another time. But right now, I'm not in the mood. So get out of here.
Yeah.
Another big Orthodox account has blocked me. No priests have, mind you, just influencers and Nelfiladoros. Well, I don't, because people are piety signaling retards. Like, who cares if some apologists blocked you?
Yeah.
Demographics are disappointing though in the Levant. Yeah, I mean it is disappointing, but you know, here's the reality. Okay, how do I say this? I'm gonna sound a little rude here. I don't think the Christians in the Levant have done enough besides become immensely insular, and I don't blame them for it. But I do think that they have failed in the Great Commission to their surrounding Muslim neighbors. They've become so insular that they all kind of just marry and keep to their small little communities, and I don't think that they're actually trying to convert the people around them. That's what the numbers suggest, right? Like they're having plenty of babies. They have positive birth rates. But what are they doing to actually change that. It's quite concentrated in Beirut. Yeah, there's truth to that too. And there's small villages throughout the other place. Yeah. The Orthodox Lebanese moved out. That's because most of them were Greek, so they all left for, Greek colonies and stuff like that. And that's another thing. Again, this could get me in trouble. Part of me also, like, a lot of the Christians in the Middle East have kind of adopted this, like, perpetual victim status. And I say this as towards the African Christians, that you see those videos come out, they're just terrible, terrible, where, like, you have the Muslims just sitting there and they're just walking down a line of people just shooting them in the head, right? At what point do you at least try to put up a fight? At what
To
point do you
defend
try?
yourself.
At what point do you
Yeah.
try and take the weapon? Why do you sit there meekly and just accept your fate? At what
Because
point do you
it's
fight back? And maybe Western Christians will see you fighting back and saying, "No, we are going to carve out our own nation in these places. We're done with Muslim rule. We're done with Jewish rule. We're going to carve out our own land and our own place that we can survive and live." And I think the excuse is always like, "Oh, but we'll just get slaughtered by the Muslims." It's like, believe it or not, Muslims are not the greatest fighters. If you guys actually put up a fight and Western Christians saw that, I guarantee you would have 1 million people sign up to come fight on your behalf as mercenaries in 5 seconds. You know how many young Christian men would be eager to come and get an AK in their hand and defend Christians in the Holy Lands? In Anatolia, in all these places. Look what the Greek the Greek War of Independence did, right? I don't know. That my thought process is that you got to start at some point. You got to stop meekly accepting getting shot in the back of the head. You just got to. It's almost like they've adopted this 21st century idea of perpetual victim status ever since like the 70s, and I have so little patience. Like, again, this is not me judging them like on their personal level. I'm just saying, like, at what point do we say, dude, you guys need to fight back? Like the Christians in Nigeria, again, I've seen video after video after video of Christians in Nigeria just being slaughtered, and it's like they just sit there and let it happen. Like, yeah, I know, it's like, oh, they've captured them, they've lined them up, and they've done it. It's like, I don't know. I know there's like a sense of fight and flight, and I'm not judging their souls or anything like that, but like at some point, it's like, dude, when do you guys like take up arms and start shooting back? Like, when do you guys start arming your population? When do you guys start like, even if it's bows and arrows, when do you guys start just like the terrorists show up in their Humvees and you guys start pelting them with rocks and guns? Who cares if they have AKs? It's either that or they slaughter you, steal your women and children, and sell them into slavery, right? Like, at what point do you fight back? And it's like, it's the same thing with the Palestinian Muslims. Like, they constantly like appeal to the West to save them. It's like, well, what time? Okay, like, dude, at what point do you guys just like say, no, enough is enough? And they say, oh, but they tried it in Gaza and look what happened. It's like, the Gazans were stupid. That was the stupidest conflict they could have ever started in their life. No offense. Again, I'm not a fan of what Israel's doing to Gaza, but in what universe was that a good idea? You know what I mean? But again, I'm also not a fan. Like, I don't like the Muslims or the Jewish state. Like, neither of them are like particularly positive in my opinion. I don't like either of them. Like, everyone wants me to take sides in these conflicts, and I'm just like, why do I have to take a side in these conflicts? Why? In what universe is it smart for me, a guy who has no relation to the Middle East, decide that? You know what I will do? I'll write a check to the Jerusalem Patriarchate or the Antiochian Patriarchate. Right? I'll write a check out to them. I'll donate to causes that are directly linked to them. But like, you know how many scams that, like, one of the reasons I've lost all faith in like the Gazan cause is how many scams they run. You know how many scams they've ran, and just untold millions of dollars have been funneled from around the world out of sympathy money to Gaza. And what is the results of that money? It gets taken. It gets like half of them have iPhones. I thought these people were supposed to be starving. I'm sorry. I'm just ranting at this point. Like, It's just frustrating because I see the same thing happen in like, oh, I am in Nigeria. I need money because I am starving. It's like, then how the hell are you on the internet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, anybody who has a cell phone is on the internet and starving. You know, if you can afford a cell phone, you're not starving. You know, you like you're scamming. I'm not downplaying the harshness and the brutal reality of what they have to live through, but at some point my sympathy can only go so far. I have to worry more about my neighbors, my own parish community. Like so yeah, anyways, that's me ranting enough. Father Timothy in the chat. Hey Father Timothy, thank you for jumping in. We were just talking about the sad earlier. We were talking about the sad state of affairs with Ananda and some of these apologists who have well, Ananda specifically, who's who's committed apostasy, and it's very sad state of affairs. So you're welcome to come up and give your thoughts if you want. Let me invite none your business, because he's been dealing with these guys for a little while. Maybe he wants to come in chat. Yeah, let's see what else is on the timeline here. Lutheranism, curmudgeonly Opa, who is a older member of the church, great man. Have a lot of respect for him. He said Lutheranism has been mostly irrelevant for the last 40 years. They've got an inferiority complex. That is true. You know, apologize for my language earlier, guys, but I just don't. I will not tolerate slander of our saints. I won't. Like, you come into my space and you slander Saint Paisios, sorry, you're done. You're lucky that I didn't cuss even more. Like, I just don't have any tolerance for that. It really pisses me off. I know Saint Paisios was a gentle soul. He probably would not approve of that, but I just, like, man, that's like insulting the Theotokos to me. You insult the Theotokos, I'm gonna lose it on you. You know what I mean? Like, I already have enough patience with the Protestants constantly smearing her and like talking down to her and belittling her. Like, and I don't crash out there. But if you're allegedly Orthodox and you're insulting the saints, you're attacking the saints, I just, like, no patience for that at all. No patience at all for that. So see what the chat is saying. Imagine if our Western nations were actually Christian, then we could send martial aid to them. Yeah, if the West, this is part of the reason why we should focus on our own communities. If we make America to become holy, if we convert huge swaths of the nation, imagine the resources we can send to the rest of the world as Orthodox, as an actually holy nation, rather than a nation that is controlled by demonic interests. Demonic interests. I said it right. There's so much truth to that. It's pretty traumatizing though, fighting against these people who do evil actions. That is true. There's truth. I'm not judging them on an interpersonal level. I'm saying, like, where are the community leaders? Where are they rallying to fight back? Where are they creating their own militias? Like, I know some of these Christians, it seems like pacifism has gripped modern Christianity to such a degree that even people that are literally, their women and children are being slaughtered, taken, sold to slavery, like, they just meekly take it. And it just boggles my mind that that can even be allowed. So that's just me being, maybe I'm calloused. I was in the military. I saw these things happen all the time in the military. And it's just like, in no universe would we just roll over and let ourselves get shot in the back of the head. Like, talk to any Marine. Is like, are you just going to allow that to happen? Be like, that's crazy to me. I mean, I think the early Christians would have at least been willing to at least be martyred by standing boldly for it, instead of meekly just, meekly doing that. And I think that there's something to be said about that. So, and I'm not even saying that I would. I might be a coward in my last. I don't know how I would react in that final moment. So, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm not. I'm just it's just there's something about it that just never sat right with me. So we have a citizen, Daniel. Daniel, you're more than welcome to. I gave you sent you a request. You're more than welcome to jump in and give your thoughts on what happened. Man, this is some crazy stuff. So, let's see. The best pagan tradition is repenting and becoming Catholic. Well, Roman Catholicism is not particularly impressive. I mean, the modern state of the like, I love it that like all of their images all the memes that they post, like I'll post it in the chat so everyone can see it, share in the space. I love that like in all of these, like if you look at the newest one that I just posted, the best pagan tradition repenting become Catholic. Notice how they're always like LARPing as if they're still like ancient Rome. Like the modern papacy would probably not even want to try and convert pagans. They would probably just say, "Ah, yeah, you know, they love God and they're trying their best." They're not crusaders anymore, bros, right? Like that. It's just like it's so embarrassing. Father Spirit and Bailey actually commented on something today. He said the spin was impressive. Yeah. Pacifism has removed the spine of all of Christians in Europe since they won't do anything about Muslim invaders. We have to emphasize the martial tradition of Christianity again. I think there is some truth to that. I do. I really do. Modern Catholicism is liberal. Yes. Carmel says, Caramel, Constantine moved the capital to Constantinople. The Pope didn't outrank the emperor. That's very true. Yep. When they made the Pope an emperor, when they made the Pope a king, a de facto political leader, is when the papacy started going completely out of left field. Nick Fuentes. Well, I don't really care about what Nick Fuentes. I don't think Nick Fuentes' takes are particularly profound. I think he says really safe things and then edgy things to keep his audience. And I think that's about it. Connecticut Children's Hospital is terminating transgender surgery for children, caving to the Trump's DOJ and HHS. Glory to God. Glory to God. Guys, like, listen, I'll say this again. I know some people really don't like it when I get into this, but in no universe am I voting for the Democrats. In no universe is that happening. Like, these types of wins are happening all the time. They may seem small, but they stack up. And I'm not allowing the transgender cult to retake power. Sorry, just not gonna happen. Daniel, what's up? I see you trying to speak.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. What's up, man? What are your thoughts?
Really, I just saw that you were going on, and I figured I'd see if this would work. Just kind of waiting for PT to start. But no, that's a great thing to hear about them not allowing the transgender thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So happy.
So,
like, when I was in Leavenworth,
you commented a bit on the Latinizer Ananda stuff. I mean, like, they're trying to pretend as if like it's Cope. Like the Roman Catholics are saying, "Oh, Cope, like one of your apologists left," and it's like, no, dude. Literally, all of us were calling this out and saying this was like bound to happen. Like, like, was anyone shocked when Ananda announced this? Nobody was shocked. Like,
no one. Like, the first thing I posted was like, "This is going to happen." Like,
we said this years ago.
It was the first thing. Exactly. Mind you, I didn't really know much about it years ago, so mine's only been about a year and a half-ish. However, comma, point being proven.
Extended period of time. Let's say that.
Exactly. We've been saying it for a while. Like, it's a travesty. Like, there's a reason that we're supposed to submit to the church, to the mindset, to speak into the Orthodox meme of obtaining the phronema. Like, that is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be obedient to the church, to our priests. We're not clericalists. It's, hey, priest has authority. We listen to priest. We're not blindly obedient, but we still have to listen to them. Like, I read, I think, 3 or 4 books that all of them say that even if the priest is wrong, if you are to err on being obedient to them, there is glory to that. It's sad, but it's a strong principle that we're supposed to adhere to. Like,
the church,
beauty and salvation.
How many times have I said this? I'm sure you've heard me say this. By the way, just mute when you're not talking because it does have background just because of where you're at. How many times have I said this, Daniel? I've said this a million times. The church is a theanthropic institution. You are to submit to your local clergy, your local bishop, first and foremost. Now, does that mean you blindly agree to, like, if your priest says, "Oh yeah, go ahead and murder this guy"? It's like, of course not. There's some degree of um discernment, but you know what you do as a result of that? If your priest is doing something that so is overtly out of left field that, like, there's absolutely no universe in which that is acceptable, you know what you do? You go to another priest or you go to another bishop and say, "This is what my priest is saying. Is this like, should I be doing this? Should I be submitting to this?" There is a process in which you appeal to these things. And notice how these Latinizer goobers, they never go to their clergy and say, "Okay, if there's this mass heresy that's going on, we're all denying original sin, we're all denying PSA, we're all denying all of these core doctrines they claim is orthodox, and there's mass modernist heresy spread throughout the entire church. Where is there a single bishop like commenting on this and saying, 'Wow, there's a really big issue in the church today'?" You won't find it. There's not a single bishop doing that. You know what you will find? There are some bishops that are calling out like rampant ecumenism in the church, where they say, "Yeah, there's too much ecumenism." There are bishops that are doing that. There are bishops that are calling out certain other things that are going on in the church. Like, for example, ethnophilatism sometimes is too much in some of the jurisdictions, and bishops in those jurisdictions have called it out. Right? It's ludicrous. So Maddie, I could not pronounce your name even if I tried, but go ahead, brother. It looks Celtic to me, and Celtic famously is not the easiest to pronounce. So go ahead. But yeah, Daniel, if you want to chime in with what I just said.
Yeah, like, to add on, it's just the online. It's a double-edged sword. It's both incredible for evangelism with orthodoxy because that's the only way.
By the way, keep talking, because I will be right back.
Okay, and however, there's been a lot of people, bishops, priests, speaking out about the importance of living the life and how orthodoxy isn't something that is online. And so what we see, well, at least what I see with a lot of the Latinizers, or what people colloquially call the Latinizers, Ananda, Sig, the weird furry people, all of them, they're just kind of like, they don't actually listen to their priests, and those who do, they tend to attack and call clericalists, as if like listening to one's priest or the clergy or any sort of the hierarchy is a bad thing. Like, that is what we're supposed to do. And like Nicholai said earlier, if your priest should say, "Hey, go kill this person," you should probably not do that. If your priest is speaking things that you don't like, speak to him first and be like, "Hey, look, I don't know if this is true. Here are the things I've read." You have a discussion about it. You talk with your priest. You talk to them. And if that doesn't work and he's still not satisfied, go to his.
All right.
Go to the bishop.
I'm back. Like, I'm back.
Okay.
Olav, Nick is sus. Who's Nick? I don't know who you're talking about. So I heard someone say Nick is controlled op. Oh, Nick Fuentes. I'm not the biggest fan. I'll just say I'm not the biggest fan of Nick, but that's what I'll leave it at. Maddie, did you want to chime in?
Yes, brothers. How we doing?
I'm alive and kicking. I can't complain too much.
That's good. I've come in late, so I'm unsure exactly what you guys are talking about. I just on the assumption that it was referring to the Ananda situation.
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, for the past few months, there's been some sort of back and forth online about whether or not he's inquiring into the papacy and whatnot. But I guess all those suspicions were true. It's a weird one because, like, obviously I'm 30 miles outside of London. I'm in Luton, so I've gone to Speaks Corner a couple of times and seen these people. What I do know is that early on, before he even became, I guess, a Christian, he was very wishy-washy with the way he was. It seemed like he could kind of side either or. And then when he finally became Christian, it was really Like, I don't think you should become an Orthodox Christian or a Christian in general and then instantly jump into apologetics. I do think that it takes time, and you need to kind of work upon yourself, especially if this is a genuine faith that you hold. And he did that for a while. He kind of initially jumped in and started doing debates and stuff in the park, and then he went off, and I only saw him for a while, and he came back. I do know that he was a big Thomas fan. Him and Sig at the start were big Thomas fans, big into divine simplicity
Yes.
in reference to the papacy. But with this particular one, with the Augustine thing, heavy emphasis on that. I don't know where it's come from. He has always been kind of like, when I've spoke to him online, there is a sense, I think what Daniel was referring to in terms of like, he shouldn't be fighting tooth and nail with people of clergy, right? He speaks about how he wants to get into the details of things and kind of come to his own conclusions of stuff. And I don't know if this is something where it's just been created where he's around a lot of Thomists. I know there's a few people in the park which are heavy Thomists, and he's been influenced to a degree, or he's kind of come to this assertion himself. But it's sad to see, man. I don't really know.
It is.
Where...
I do say it's a tragedy because, like, we all warned him and all the people that are around him in those circles. We warned them all that this is where this leads, because we have a real life example of someone who holds to all the same positions. The PSA original sin stuff was a former clergy, Joshua Shuping.
Yes.
Joshua Shuping verbatim went down this exact same path. Now, the reason that Ananda, and this is I'm speculating here, the reason he's going Rome is because Rome just tolerates basically any theology. They don't really care as long as you submit to the Pope. And so he'll be comfortable there, being able to do all of his speculation all day long, and he'll be able to continue to do his Speaker's Corner, Islamianity stuff. And I think the Islamianity community is toxic to meaningful dialogue amongst denominations because they're rabidly ecumenist. In one of the recent videos that I saw of Ananda debating on Speaker's Corner, kept on calling all these people brothers, even though some of these people hold to overt heresies that even Rome would still say is like heresy. And it's like, why are you calling him brother? Like,
absolutely.
And I don't know, like, maybe it's a English thing where they're like, oh, brother. It's like,
I don't know, man. He's a guy who's kind of, I think, in many ways, he's a bit confused with. It's maybe it's not coming off as it's not an insult, but in England, you have to recognize for a lot of young people here, especially natively born British people, sometimes they go through various different identity crises, where a lot of our culture and our norms and our background has been very much kind of pulled out from underneath us for many years. Now it's kind of reviving in the sense that people are proud to be Anglo-Saxon and Celt and Christian. But you can see with him where he's gone through various different stages, especially someone who's living in London, who's like, he's got different influences around him. And sometimes it seems like he speaks in ways which it doesn't seem like it's his character, right? So I do think in many ways he's susceptible to being kind of hijacked into something else. And a lot of the people, like you said, he's around are Latinizers, people who hold heresies, and he's kind of cool with them in a sense. And look, at the end of the day, and like I think you're right in a sense with the papacy are tolerant in sense of like people can hold various different positions as long as they submit to the Pope. It's all sound, right? With Orthodoxy, even myself, my own journey, I've not argued with with anybody in the church. I've asked pressing hard questions and had to come to the normalization, especially someone who's like, you haven't grown up religious like that. It's a new thing to understand what authority means and what these people mean. Like I'm a very anti-ecumenist person. Doesn't mean I'm a mean person to anybody outside the faith. I recognize everybody as potential Orthodox Christians, right? That's the way I think you ought to initially see somebody.
Yes.
But
and I think that's the correct way to. That's the correct way to approach somebody normatively. I would agree with you on that. So.
Absolutely. And you see like Alex Soren himself, like at the end of his streams, at the end of his debates, the last thing he leaves the tone on is a positive message, go to your own divine liturgy locally and see for yourself, right? I think that should always be the sentiment, that should always be the standard, always. Because if, for instance, it's the case that we're doing this, it ought to be for that. It can't just be for online clout and presence. We can't turn into the Islamianity like cult, right? That's not what we're doing. We're doing it for a mission, right? But with him, it's a weird one, man. I just think
here's my take. Here's my thing. I think it was clear from the get-go that he joined Orthodoxy because he felt it had fealty with the early church fathers. And Father Deacon Ananias, who I'm assuming you are familiar with, Me and him
Obviously,
were
okay. Yeah.
communicating years ago about this. We said there are a group of people who hold to a pseudo sola scripturist mindset, but they do it with the church fathers. I think it's called sola patristica. They think that your fealty to random quote mines and out of context quotes of church fathers that may or may not be an accurate interpretation of them is what orthodoxy is. Orthodoxy is this anachronistic religion where we just go back in time and we piece together a religion out of it. No, the church is theanthropic. The living
Yes.
bishops have the same authority to bind and loose as the saints and bishops of the past. And I think that is the key distinction between the mentality of somebody who humbly submits themselves to the will of the church and somebody who is obstinate in wanting to build the faith for their own, build the faith on their own. And I think it's a very Western concept because we're very, very hyper independent. We've kind of abandoned hierarchy altogether, especially in like England and America. You know, it's very obviously infamous because England and America were the bedrock where a lot of these kind of kooky Protestant cults,
Yeah.
spirated
Kind
from.
of our fault in many ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
no.
much a like Enlightenment individualism, and it's not good. And if I can make one more comment, because I'm gonna have to leave for formation here in a second. When it comes to ecumenism, I think there's a better term for that, because so we don't murk up that what proper ecumenism is would be Christian perennialism. So it's perennialism, but strictly for Christianity. It's basically saying that all of Christians are still valid and there's sacraments everywhere, like the Vatican II style type of thing where, hey, look, you're just not part of the fullness of it, but you're still valid, you're still okay. It's a type of perennialism, but specific to Christianity and all the quote unquote denominations. I think that's almost a more proper form of it, because we can say the pan heresy of ecumenism, which, yeah, it still says, referring to the same thing. I just think in my head, it makes more sense to call it a Christian perennialism, because perennialism is we all believe in the same thing. It's still the same God. It's still that, just different ways of expressing it. And I think if we put it to just Christianity, I think it tailors it more correctly to what we are against. But that's just my 2 cents.
I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't be opposed to referring to it as that. I just think you can refer to people in terms of like Christianity is not just a conceptual idea, right? It's a historical thing that has happened, right? So I don't mind being friendly to people outside of the Orthodox Church. You know, I don't mind having conversations with people. I think you should always start from the position of like kind of open arms. We can have a conversation about certain things, right? But in terms of Christian, I refer to that in like a kind of colloquial sense. Like I can distinguish between them and like a Muslim, for instance, but do I mean it in any true sense? I don't. And you know, I've spoken to different people. I'm part of a Russian parish here in Luton, you know, and even some people there are like heavy ecumenists, but they're not ecumenists in the way in which they're diluting the faith. Like my reader, he goes to various different events throughout Luton and speaks to Pentecostal, charismatic, different people, but it's not in a way in which where it's like kind of like we're all holding hands and we're working for the same goal. He goes there trying to enlighten people and invite them to the Orthodox faith, right?
Yeah, I would say that's more of what I would call evangelistic outreach, where the intent, I think intent matters a lot, right? So I think so like there are bishops that will go to like pan religious events and they're not really participating, they're just present there so people know that that we're a thing, right? And people need to remember that there's a degree of like, like in the modern world, you kind of got to let people know. Like in the past, the way you spread was you just sent a missionary priest out to a village and said, "Okay, go plant a church." That's what they did, right? But that day and age is a little bit over. People don't just convert because some random priest starts talking to you on the sidewalk. That's first off, evangelicals have kind of ruined that because evangelical like style street witnessing is seen very negatively, as you can. I'm sure you've experienced this too, being in that area of England. I'm sure you see a lot of those like street preachers like,
Yeah.
And I can tell you from my personal experience, that doesn't work. Street preaching does not work anymore with modern people.
No, not at all. There's a weird. People take it as a weird sense of entitlement that you're trying to impose an idea on them, right? People would prefer if you had a conversation with them, right, on a one-to-one level.
Yes.
And they criticize the author bros and us, right? Because you have this sense of like maybe in the way in which we sometimes word things are not the best way, right? I can recognize that. I can understand from somebody who's a non-orthodox person, they may initially take a sense of like, oh, these people are kind of exclusivists, and they're sort of like they're almost, they may come to a conclusion where they think that we're sort of like stranglehold in salvation to this one particular thing. It's not that. Like I understand the mentality when people have not encountered this before, and then all of a sudden they're introduced to this whole new world, right? Of this, like, no, there's a whole other side to this which you're uninformed on, and we would just like to have a conversation, open these dialogues up to us. But I do think that, like, with individuals like Sig, like, I like Sig. I've spoken to Sig a couple of times, many times, and he's a cool guy. But there is a weird sense of this chronic ecumenism, right? And it's like, brother, like, at the end of the day, yeah, you can absolutely work with people with different denominations, right? But if the goal is if the end goal is not to try and bring people into the Orthodox Church, are we just promoting yourself?
Well,
like what we're doing here,
I think here's really what it comes down to. And I've had private conversations with Sig, and he has overtly told me that he doesn't believe he needs permission from a priest to be doing what he's doing. He doesn't believe he needs priest oversight. He said that verbatim to me. And I wish I had recorded that conversation, because it was a private Discord chat, because everyone insisted. Everyone said, "Oh, you just talk to Sig, man. You'll be convinced of like the Latin position. You'll be convinced of this Latinizer position." I'm like, why? Like, why are these guys so desperate to get me to talk to this guy? And then Sig will proceed to go and deny that he promotes these things. So it's like very inconsistent. Like, why are all these people convinced that you're the person that will convince me? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Cult of personality in many ways. I look, when I speak to our brothers online and they start to lean that way, like the thing is that, like, you have to understand, like, the way it's been framed for the past 20 years, that there's an impending doom of like Islamic takeover, right? And I'm not saying there's not a time and place for polemics, but like that, there's this sort of idea where it's like we all have to come together right now, on just the bare minimum of what we agree with, and then attack, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the initial presupposition of how they think about things. And I do think there's a time and place. However, I think
they're conflating the pragmatic political reality of aligning with one another, and theology and politics don't really combine all that well. I mean, like, frankly, like, if I see a bunch of like Protestant Christians fighting against Muslims and stopping Muslims from doing the types of things that they've been doing in England, as we see with Rupert Lowe and his report and things like that. So we won't get into details because of YouTube's TOS. But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think you should go and fight back, right? But does that mean I suddenly have to start being buddy with their theological positions? No, like, it's a false dichotomy,
Well, I just make people remember, like, think about again, I'm quite green to the church fathers and stuff like that. So if I misquote things, please interrupt me. But I think about just a single line of where is it Athanasius, where he's dealing with the Arius crisis, right? And he's essentially up against an empire at that time. You've got Constantine, which is sympathetic to the Arians, and he's having his speech, and he's interrupted by one of the hecklers and saying, the world is against you, essentially. And Athanasius keeps the faith. He says, let Athanasius be against the world. It could be the case that the Orthodox Church would dwindle down to a community of people within the hundreds. You ought not be a hubris even at that point.
One thing you have to remember, I always point this out. Athanasius had several bishops in his jurisdiction that supported him. That's part of the reason why the Ecumenical Council got called, was because he had bishops in his corner. Now, those bishops aren't really talked about because Athanasius was the central character, and his writings were what kind of were the driving force for the council. But there were like
Yeah.
people. Everyone seems to think that they're the new Athanasius of the world.
Oh, that's what I was going
They're
to say.
the
Exactly.
they're the new Saint Nectarios of Aegea. I'm persecuted for maintaining orthodoxy. I'm
Yeah.
in a state of persecution. It's like, stop. You're not the new Saint Maximus. You're not the new Saint Athanasius. And frankly, again, I always want to point this out. Show me I just want, this is what you need to do, Maddie. Anytime these guys talk, that show me a single bishop that is calling out other bishops from this modernist heresy of not having original sin or not having PSA. You won't find a single modern bishop that does that. Not one. You can't find it. I can't find it. I've looked everywhere for a living bishop that is denouncing other bishops for not holding to PSA. Can't find it. Period. And so I'm like, sorry, I have my tolerance level for your BS, and you saying that you have better understanding of the church fathers than these bishops who spend their entire lives studying the church fathers. That's what these guys are trying to tell you. These 20-year-old goobers. No offense. I'm just to be very brutal. These 20-year-old these 20 to 26-year-old goobers are sitting around here trying to tell you that they know better than every single bishop in the living Orthodox world today. Every single one of them. They're like, I've done the research. I've interpreted these church fathers better than all these other bishops. Okay, if all these bishops are missing it and you didn't miss it, what the hell were all those bishops studying all these years?
Yeah, exactly. I think with these lads in it, in many ways, like we were saying with the anti-Islamic thing, this has become like kind of an organized business now. There's a model in which they follow. You know,
dude, it's easy. I told these guys before, like I actually recently was trying to do some TikTok stuff and seeing if I could maybe stream that a little bit on my channel, because people keep on saying, oh, you should go on TikTok and debate people. I'm like, okay, fine, maybe I'll try it. Dude, the low tier slop that you debate, like the people on TikTok are so low tier that it's like, yeah, you can build a huge following very quickly by just being mediocre. Like you could just be mediocre at debating, and you can make yourself look like a star. Like no wonder God Logic has gone so big, because if the quality of the debaters that he's debating on TikTok are that, he probably looks like a savant. You know?
Yeah, man. Look, I think a lot of people used to be into Logic back in the day, and don't get me wrong, like some of his stuff was entertaining, but at a certain point when you're running the same arguments over and over again, and it's getting to the point where it's like
secondhand.
I can already, I know what's going to be said. Like, there's no need. This is not edifying to me anymore. I recognize the issues associated with it, right? I'm just listening to the same thing over and over again. This is where the idea of like, what are we moving forward?
I hate to interrupt you.
Sort of battling?
I hate to interrupt you. I might be able to do another space later, a stream later, but unfortunately, my wife is calling me. I have to get going, guys. I have to shut down the stream. So, but it was great talking to you, Maddie. Why don't you DM me if you have anything else you want to talk about ever? My DMs are always open for anybody. God bless you guys, and I'm sorry for having to shut this down so quickly.